With all the controversy surrounding Greg Norman, the CEO of the Saudi-backed LIV Golf League, it seems like everyone in golf is either secretly talking to Greg in hopes of a deal or pouncing on him with some savage comments. Rory McIlroy, arguably the greatest golfer in the world right now, falls into the latter category. He had some harsh words for the CEO, and in this video, we'll be taking a look at some comments along with some other golf news. So without any further ado, let's dive in. First up, what did Rory say? The 2022 Canadian Open concluded on June 12th, and in it, we saw Rory McIlroy make a bit of a triumphant victory. He was tied -17 with American golfer Justin Thomas, who tied with him after a major comeback toward the end of the game, having hit 6 birdies right there. But in the end, McIlroy prevailed by going birdie-birdie over the final 2 holes, while Thomas failed to bring in the same performance. It was definitely one of those games that shows you just how exciting a game of golf can be, but most of the media were focused on what happened after the game. During the post-game interview, he noted that this game was his 21st overall PGA victory, which was one more than someone else. That someone else was Greg Norman, who has 20 total PGA wins. Considering the fact that Greg Norman pretty much threw PGA under the bus, this must be extremely satisfying for someone like Rory. But for now, Greg Norman has bigger things to worry about than McIlroy's comments. His main worry is the complete disaster that is LIV Golf. What else did he say about the LIV tournament? Despite his big win, it seems like reporters were more interested to hear Rory's thoughts on the LIV tournament than the win itself. It was something that was clearly frustrating to McIlroy, considering he had just gotten an impossible victory, but nonetheless, he was forced to respond. McIlroy did not put back his punches when talking about the players that deserted PGA. He said that the players have made their bed and they must now lie in it. He was particularly disappointed in the way that former PGA champion Phil Mickelson handled his departure. Saying that Phil took the easy way out, McIlroy reiterated the fact that the LIV tournament meant nothing to golf as a sport. He called the league dead in the water and made it clear that he has no intention of joining it anytime soon. However, Rory added that he does not work for the PGA. The PGA works for him. He will continue to remain friends with some of the players that jumped ship to LIV, saying his professional life is not going to interfere with his personal relationships. How did LIV Golf go? If you happen to catch a game of the LIV Golf tournament recently, you probably already know that not everything went as planned in the Saudi-backed tournament. This was meant to be an organization that could someday replace the PGA, but in the end, they just couldn't beat back their reputation. The first game of the tournament took place on June 9th, but it failed to generate almost any hype at all. To create hype, Shane O'Donoghue at the commentary box took a unique approach. He started the call the 48 players that joined the league fearless, as if they had just made some sort of major stride. It seemed like even the commentary couldn't be less interested in the game itself and more focused on fixing the terrible reputation that LIV developed before it even started. Overall, Charles Schwartzel won the first invitational game in London to very little fanfare at all. It failed to generate the hype it wanted to, and it's more of a retirement plan for old golfers than a truly prestigious tournament. Next, PGA chief defends LIV ban. In case you didn't know, PGA was not taking LIV's daylight theft of many of the top golf players in the world lightly. PGA created a lot of new rules to prevent players from joining LIV, including suspensions, sponsorship boycotts, and more. Many people said that the PGA took things way too far, for it was essentially a personal decision made by golfers to earn some extra cash. But the PGA Tour chief recently defended the bans. He said that the bans are enforced in order to help players who chose to remain loyal to the PGA. He also downplayed LIV as a tournament, saying it's nothing more than a series of exhibition matches that will continue to take place among the same players over and over again. It can't be compared to something like PGA, which has been seen as golf's premier institution for decades now. Despite that, the chief said that he was willing to talk to the suspended players to discuss their future in the organization, but for now, it seems like their time at PGA has come to an end. And Bryson DeChambeau loses sponsor because of LIV. Even though the LIV Golf tournament was mainly there to make players a lot of money, it seems like the PR fallout was something the golfers didn't expect. Almost every golfer that joined the LIV tournament has received an onslaught of online and real-life criticism, and it's something the sponsors aren't too pleased with. Bryson DeChambeau was one of the players who made the decision to jump ship to LIV. It's believed that Bryson's contract with LIV is worth over $100 million over the course of the coming years, if LIV survives that long, that is. However, Bryson has just lost one of the biggest sponsors. Rocket Mortgage recently announced that they would be cutting all ties with Bryson. They cited their long-standing relationship with the PGA as the reason behind this. It's important to remember that a lot of the sponsors that golfers manage to pull are because of the PGA. It's the prestige of the PGA that allows them to get so many high-profile sponsors. LIV is something with no prestige at all, which is why they have such a hard time getting sponsors. In fact, they haven't even found a broadcaster yet. It seems like LIV is going to be a highly unprofitable venture for the following years. And it'll be interesting to see just how much the Saudis are willing to bankroll this expensive venture. Up next, Brooks Koepka annoyed at LIV questions. As we earlier mentioned, it seems like reporters are more interested in hearing players' thoughts on the LIV tournament than the performance of these players themselves. Many golfers were seemingly annoyed at the constant barrage of LIV-related questions, and amongst these players was Brooks Koepka. Talking to reporters, Brooks said that he was here for the US Open. He accused the reporters of creating a black cloud over one of the most prestigious events of the entire year by constantly asking questions about LIV. He said that the US Open was one of the most favorite events in golf, and it's depressing how the media has handled it. But in saying so, he would also let his opinions on the LIV tournament be known. Acknowledging the fact that most of the reporters were actually against LIV, he said that the more reporters talked about it, the more legs they would be giving to the tournament. Koepka was not the only player to say something like this. Earlier, Colin Morikawa also mentioned that he's tired of all the LIV-related questions. Now, Phil Mickelson in low spirits after joining LIV. Phil Mickelson was one of the golf's most dominating players during the past 30 years. All of his plays oozed confidence. But after the media onslaught he received for joining the LIV tournament, he does not seem to be in high spirits. During the US Open press conference, Phil wasn't his usual self. Question after question started to come up, accusing Phil of abandoning the sport for money, and he had seemingly no answers to it. After being told he chose exhibition over sport, Phil tried to defend himself in the worst way possible. He said that there was obviously the financial aspect of it, and the look on his face clearly showed that he wanted to take those words back. But he went on, saying that the LIV tournament allowed him to take off more time to be with his family, which is probably what he should have started with. But the damage was done. At 51 years old, it's unlikely that Phil's reputation will ever recover from this. Is LIV already a failure? With all the talk of the lack of hype behind LIV, many are quick to label it a failure. In reality, there is a lot of media hype around it. It's just not positive. But in the world of entertainment, no publicity is bad publicity. As long as people keep talking about LIV, it'll continue to thrive as a prospect to one day replace the PGA Tour. The Saudi government is also more than willing to bankroll this project for a few years until the controversy dies down and the sponsors and broadcasters start to roll in. Who knows? Maybe LIV might actually be a success, but for now, it's too early to tell. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think LIV is going well? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.